I wish I didn't wait for the last couple days to do my Shakespeare project. I'm so tired. In fact, I could just smother myself with this pillow to go to sleep. Wait a second. That sounds a lot like what happens in William Shakespeare's Othello. William Shakespeare, as we all probably know by now, was most likely born on April 23rd, 1564, in Stratford upon Avon. Only a couple days later, on April 26th, Shakespeare was baptized at the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford upon Avon. He grew up in a modest family. His parents were John and Mary Shakespeare. William had 7 siblings, however, his 2 older siblings did not live past infancy. He had 3 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters. William would eventually go on to learn at King's New School, where he had learned much about grammar and language. In 1582, Shakespeare would eventually marry a woman by the name of Anne Hathaway. At the time, Anne was already pregnant with their first child, Susanna. In 1585, William Shakespeare had twins, Judith and Hamnet. Unfortunately, the next couple years of Shakespeare's life are quite unknown. However, we do know that in 1594, Shakespeare was part of a group of actors called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. The name was later changed to the King's Men in 1603 when King James took over for Queen Elizabeth. William Shakespeare had an illustrious career as a playwright. He has 37 known plays and 154 sonnets. Othello is one of Shakespeare's most popular plays and was most likely written in 1603. Othello was based off a previous story by Giovanni Battista Giraldi, or better known as Cinthio. Cinthio's story, named Un Capitano Moro, follows the same pattern in which a general is told to believe by a fellow soldier that his wife is not being faithful with him. Othello tells the story of a man by the name of Iago who is desperate to get his dream girl Desdemona for himself. He and his friend Rodrigo develop a plan to make Desdemona available. Desdemona had just recently gotten married to a soldier by the name of Othello. That isn't the only obstacle in Iago's way either. Both he and Rodrigo know that if Desdemona were to leave Othello for anyone, it would be for another soldier by the name of Cassio. Therefore, Iago identifies getting rid of Cassio as his first step toward Desdemona. This begins my scene, which takes place in Act 2, Scene 3 of Othello, where Iago tries to talk down about Desdemona to Cassio, and eventually tries to get Cassio drunk and out of control. Welcome, Iago. We must to the watch. Not this hour, Lieutenant. 'Tis not yet 10 on the clock. Our general cast us thus early for the love of his Desdemona, who let us not therefore blame. He hath not yet made wanton the night with her, and she is sport for Jove. She's a most exquisite lady, and I'll warrant her full of game. Indeed, she's a most fresh and delicate creature. What an eye she has! Methinks it sounds a parley to provocation. An inviting eye, yet methinks right modest. And when she speaks, is not an alarm to love. She is indeed perfection. Well, happiness to their sheets. Come, Lieutenant, I have a stoup of wine, and here without the brace of Cyprus gallants, that would fain have a measure to the health of black Othello. Not tonight, good Iago. I have very poor and unhappy brains for drinking. I could well wish courtesy could invent some other custom of entertainment. Oh, there are friends. But 1 cup, I'll drink for you. I have drank but 1 cup tonight, and that was craftily qualified too. And behold what innovation it makes here. I'm unfortunate in the infirmity, and dare not task my weakness with any more. What man, 'tis a night of revels, the gallants desire it. Where are they? Here, at the door. I pray you call them in. I'll do it, but it dislikes me. If I can fasten but 1 cup upon him, with that which he hath drunk already, he'll be as full of quarrel and offence as my young mistress's dog. Now, my sick fool Rodrigo, whom love hath turned almost the wrong side out, to Desdemona hath tonight caroused, potations bottle deep, and he's to watch. 3 lads of Cyprus, noble swelling spirits, have I flustered tonight with flowering cups, and they watch too. Now march this flock of drunkards. Am I to put our Cassio in some action that may offend the isle? But here they come. If consequence do but to prove, my boat sails freely, both with wind and stream. For heaven, they've given me a rouse already. Some wine, ho, and let the conklin clink, and let the conklin clink. A soldier's a man, and life's but a span. Why then let the soldier drink. Some wine, boys. For heaven, an excellent song. I learned it in England, where indeed they are most potent in potting. Your Dane, your German, and your swag-bellied Hollander drink, ho, are nothing to your English. Is your Englishman so expert in his drinking? Why, he drinks you with facility, your Dane dead drunk. Why, he drinks you with facility, your Dane dead drunk. He sweats not to overthrow a main. He gives your Hollander a vomit ere the next pottle can be filled. To the health of our general. O sweet England, King Stephen was a worthy peer, his breeches cost him but a crown. He held often 6 pence all too dear, with that he called the tailor lown. He was a wight of high renown, and thou art but of low degree. 'Tis pride that pulls the country down, then take thine old cloak about thee. Some wine, ho! Why, this is a more exquisite song than the other. Will you hear it again? No, for I hold him to be unworthy of those who does those things. Well, heaven's above all, and there be souls must be saved. And there be souls must be saved. It's true, good lieutenant. For mine own part, no offence to the general, nor any man of quality, I hope to be saved. And so do I, lieutenant. Aye, but not before me. The lieutenant is to be saved before ancient. Let's have no more of this. Let's to our affairs. Forgive us our sins, gentlemen. Let's look to our business. Do not think, gentlemen, I am drunk. This is my ancient, this is my right hand, this is my left hand. I'm not drunk now. I can stand well enough, and speak well enough. Excellent, well? Why, very well then. You must not think that I am drunk. After this scene, Iago gets his friend Rodrigo to start a fight with Cassio. Othello eventually comes down to see this unfold and strips Cassio of his rank. Iago then convinces Cassio that in order to get back on good terms with Othello, Cassio must plead to Othello's lover Desdemona for forgiveness. When Cassio continues to talk with Desdemona while being nervous in Othello's presence, Iago plants the seed in Othello's mind that maybe Desdemona is cheating on him with Cassio. Iago goes on pretending to be both Cassio's and Othello's friend, while all the while driving the wedge between them and Desdemona further and further. After a while, Othello reaches his breaking point. Othello and Iago come up with a plan to kill Cassio. However, Iago does not manage to kill Cassio, and in turn has to kill Rodrigo, his friend, to save himself. Iago's plan also backfired when later that night Othello smothers and kills Desdemona in their own bed out of jealousy and anger. Emilia, Desdemona's maid, soon walks in on this horrendous scene, and Othello confesses what he did. Emilia soon realized what had happened. She had earlier helped Iago attain some of Desdemona's belongings to help frame Cassio. Once she explains to Othello that Desdemona was actually faithful all along, Othello is heartbroken. He eventually picks up his own sword and kills himself that night. When Iago realizes everything went wrong, he tries to flee but is eventually caught and sentenced to death. Some of the main themes seen in this play are jealousy, love, and race. Jealousy might be one of the most important themes in this play. We see how dangerous jealousy can be and how it can completely ruin someone's life. Jealousy turns a previously good man in Othello to some sort of monster that will do anything to get his revenge. His jealousy gets so strong that he eventually kills his own wife. We also see the common theme of love that is in a lot of Shakespeare's plays. This is demonstrated by the immense obstacles Iago goes through to try and get to his love Desdemona. Another theme we see in Shakespeare's Othello is the problem of race. Othello is one of the first big black heroes in Shakespeare's plays and in English literature in general. Throughout the play, Othello is often referred to by some characters as a beast. This insecurity of Othello due to his race is also a big part in Iago's ability to manipulate Othello however he wanted. Some experts say that Iago is what separates Othello from some of Shakespeare's other tragedies. Iago drives the whole plot of the story and is largely responsible for the tragedy that occurred. While Othello does not have a real flaw, he has his one downfall, which is jealousy. Without Iago, there is no real jealousy to focus on. I personally thought that Shakespeare's Othello was very interesting. It was able to hold my attention and interest more than any other Shakespeare play I've read. The constant mind games between the characters is a really cool aspect and added to the enjoyment of reading.